Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. And I'll answer your questions about mental health, getting out of a toxic relationship, especially with any of the personality disorders, and any other mental health related questions you guys have, relationship questions that you have, and looking. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm just fixing something on this, but oops. There I am. Anyway, because I usually have it. Hey, Bob. No, I'm gonna put them up after I've had the longest day, so I'm gonna post my shorts after this. I totally thought I was gonna do it first thing in the morning, and then like all this stuff came up, and I'm having like an influx of people wanting one-on-one coaching, so I was like doing all of that, which was great, totally great. But yeah, I will have it up shortly. How have you been, Bob? How was your birthday? Are you still celebrating it? Gosh, I usually have it where it's like broadcasting from two anyway. And then on top of everything, like my Chrome was being weird, which is very annoying. But anyway, so I'm good. How about you? Not just one day celebration for me. Yeah, maybe that's a girl thing to celebrate like constantly or for the month. I'm doing good. Yeah, there's just like a lot with new clients. And then also, I was thinking about like launching a community. If any of you guys have opinions about that, but I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I was going to put like all of my courses. I basically have 3 courses. The one about recovering from toxic relationships is kind of like the biggest one, and then I have one on imposter syndrome, and then I have one on it's called Keto Zen, and it's just like how to have like how your diet, basically how an anti-inflammatory diet can make like every area of your life better. But it's about cutting down FAT and just getting the body composition that you want, but it also has the mindset part of getting the body composition that you want. Anyway, those are 3 courses I have, and I was going to put them all in the community, and like you have access to them. And then I would do something like this, but it would be on Zoom. It'd be a once a week call on Zoom included in the community. And I would answer your questions, and then it'd be more interactive because I could bring you on like the Zoom stage. And then I was thinking about having like the community, you could pay between $33 and like $100. Like you could decide what you want to pay and just do that like on a month. So it'd be kind of like this, but it'd just be more interactive. And then you'd have access to all of my courses and maybe some other material that's just on the community. So let me know if you guys have an opinion about that, because yeah, I don't know. I just think it might be a good way to do it. I've been just thinking about it. Hi, Rob. How are you? Sounds good, Lauren. Keep dropping the shorts. Love the random motivation. Yes, I just haven't posted them today. Yeah, but I will. It was giving me anxiety, so I will do it as soon as I get off of here. I will post what I have planned for today. Sounds good, like good ideas to me. Hi, Miss Priya. How are you? I'll jump into your question since you're here, but you had 2 of them. And I just remember the first one, or the one that you left, I think it was just today, was about like, should you basically like judge yourself if, you're thinking you don't want good for them, or when you think about them, especially if it's like a narcissist or toxic relationship, like you don't want the best for them or you want them to do bad. Here's my thing about that. And I have a video about like stopping obsessive thoughts, because it's also very natural. It's very natural to, especially when someone's been terrible to you and you've had a toxic dynamic, and it's totally normal to want that revenge, for it to come back. And also some of that anger is displaced. Sometimes it's like we're angry at the way we were treated, and we're also angry that we allowed ourselves to be treated like that. And sometimes it's easier to just totally be angry at that person, and that's valid. I get it, because it's a lot to process. But at some point you want to circle back and not be angry at yourself, but be gentle with yourself and give that version of yourself a hug. You're probably doing the best that you could, and that you were probably like really wanting the love or attention or affection from that relationship, and you were just getting it in the wrong ways. And so that's totally like valid. But we don't want to get, when we notice that we're doing that, we want to create positive pattern disruption and completely pause and be like, oh gosh, I'm doing that thing. And can I not? Can I redirect that energy and even like transmute that energy into some form of self-care? Because it is pretty self-destructive to kind of obsessively think about someone that did you wrong and, feel hurt, feel all of the things, and keep going down that spiral. It's going to create more of the same pattern. So can you notice what you're doing and then shift into some form of self-care? Even if it's to journal about like, hey, I want to release this emotion. Can I release the grief that's underneath it? And if it's a place where you can't do that, say that you're at work, can you do some deep breathing? Can you get a drink of water and then maybe like do a lap around the building or get outside for a second? But whatever it is, do something that is directed towards self-care. But if you do have the opportunity to journal about it and process it in some way, I would do that with the intention of, I want to release this. I want to release this feeling of revenge. I want to release this feeling of anger that this person, I'm like hooked to this person in that way, because it's still creating that like drug-like response in the brain. We're still connected to them. Yeah, maybe we're not giving them the attention and the praise that they want, but now we're obsessively thinking about them. And what is that going to do? The next time that they come around, you're going to be game on and you're going to be like all ready to engage with them. And we don't want that. So, that was that question. And then your other one, I screenshotted it. Oh, here it is. Still make a note about trauma responses. You said women acting masculine and men resorting to escorts are trauma responses. Maybe more in depth on that. Yeah. So when women act masculine in any type of way, like what I mean by masculine is that they are very hypervigilant. They feel like they have to be very controlling. They can't relax. They can't trust a lot in any type of way. And a lot of the times this is kind of glorified in our culture, like, oh yeah, and I can do everything, all this stuff. And it's like, no, like the feminine energy especially in a relationship, whatever the feminine energy is, knows how to relax and surrender and go with the flow. But if you are in a place where you're very controlling and you have to be like very harsh and you just can't relax around anything, and then even if you are a woman and you notice that you tend to date feminine men, but also like resent them for that, like they can't step up, they can't do this, and then you hate them for that, but then you can't attract like a more masculine, like alpha male, like traditional, like, you know what I mean, type of man that is a provider and a protector and a leader, because you're afraid to be led, you're afraid to trust. And that is just unprocessed trauma that we got really hyper vigilant at some point because we couldn't trust our caretakers. We weren't safe when we were children, and so our nervous system learned to be on edge all the time. And then with, what was the other part of it? Oh yeah, that guy was talking about like sex workers and escorts and all that stuff. So a lot of unhealed, and this is true for people, right? But that guy was commenting. So I'm like, yeah, that's what unhealed men do. So instead of processing their feelings, they use sex for validation, and but in this very like superficial way. So they'll like, yeah, have sex with sex workers that are there to perform and maybe not even do a good job at that. Or, I've had clients that are like 60-year-old dudes and they're like dating these 18-year-old these 18-year-old like Filipino girls who are just, they're like in survival mode trying to do whatever for themselves and their family. So they'll put on a performance and like, I'm like, don't you know that this is all fake? And it's like, but it's just doing whatever. It's like numbing something. It's putting a Band-Aid on their ego. They're very wounded, whatever they have around women and their mother, instead of addressing the issue. And like, yeah, it's uncomfortable to look at those things, but it's like, are you going to have superficial relationships your whole life? And then you kind of end up low key hating women. Like there's never enough of like the performance thing. It really, I've seen people kind of, and I'm thinking of one client in particular that like literally almost ruined his life with this type of dynamic. Like he was hanging out, like dating like a bunch of these like Filipino girls, but he had like one main one. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna, have threesomes and all this stuff. And then he really fell in love with this one, again, like 20-year-old Filipino girl, like really in survival mode. And he almost like left his wife for, they had a kid together and stuff, but it didn't like at the like a Hail Mary, he didn't like go and I don't know, hook up with this, like leave his family behind for this 20-year-old. And then the 20-year-old, like literally within 10 days, she found a new boyfriend, moved in with him and got pregnant. And I'm like, see, that was a total performance. Like I said, like why you were about to risk everything, throw away everything for that. Ew. So, but yeah, so men, when they're like fucking a bunch of like escorts and they're like, yeah, they either hate women and they're gay and they're like, yeah, look at how masculine I am. I need this for validation, because they're really not, or they're trying to cover up something and not deal with their feelings. And that's, people that have sex addictions, that's true for people too. And a lot of the personality disorders, the cluster B, do that as well. Women will go sleep around as trauma response. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like women do that too. But yeah, you will hear men that are like DL, like secretly gay, and men that just refuse to look at they're like a brag about hooking up with a bunch of escorts. Like it just blows my mind. I'm like, who are you high-fiving? Who is, yeah, I banged all these women that I paid to. Like it's really sad to me. Rob, maintenance is going well, Bob. Seeing more stability in my responses toward the challenges for sure. I love that, Rob. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Bob, one thing I noticed too is even if you hate a narcissist, that's still supply for them. Yeah, we've talked about that. They love that. They just want a reaction out of you. That is why JADE is so important, to not go into JADE, justify, argue, defend, explain, or even engage. This is like the last step. Because if they know that you hate them, they like that, because at the end of the day, they want you to be in pain. They have so much pain and guilt and shame that they refuse to process. So they're trying to offload it on you. So if they know that they're making you miserable in some way, they've won. So even giving them that energy isn't great. Neutrality is the best method in my personal experience. Absolutely, Bob. And I felt like I was going to say something else about that. But yeah, you don't want to be a supply for them in any way. Oh, I was just going to tell you a personal anecdote. When I really came across like a real toxic, before I even knew that I was dating a narcissist, or that I was basically replaying these things from my childhood and like my mom being a narcissist. So this narcissist, I like broke up with him and I really had to break free. He was stalking me and it was very upsetting. And he's like, if you break up with me, you are going to hate men like for the rest of your life, and I'm like, okay, so if I break up with you, so like you're trying to trap me, and if I don't stay with you, how am I gonna hate men? Like you think you have that power over me, bro? So, but it was crazy, but he like had that fantasy, like he wanted that to be true, which is like, I think he hates women, but I definitely don't hate men. Let's see. My win is I caught myself justifying and defending and slowly stepped away. Love it, Miss Priya. Congratulations. And then, the more that you do that and then celebrate that win, you're creating like that a new neural feedback loop, and you're creating a new response. And what is that? That creates a new state in your nervous system. So that is excellent. I hope you are very proud of yourself. Bob. Bob. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. I missed that comment. I'm glad it's going well for you. Yeah, Rob, we're celebrating you. That is awesome. And that is awesome, Miss Priya. That dude sounds gross. Oh my God, he was so gross. I mean, all narcissists are gross. And they think like bizarre thoughts like that. It's like, if you're not with me, like narcissists cannot handle or metabolize abandonment. They will do anything. A lot of the times with narcissists, it does show up like avoidant behavior, like I'm going to break up with you before you break up with me type of thing. Or some of it's just really controlling, and they'll stalk you and try to have some type of power or control over you. So like it's very common for a narcissist to, when they're done, or if there is a breakup, they'll be like, oh, come work for me. Okay, so my livelihood is dependent on you. And it still kind of surprises me, when I come across these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm dating this guy and 3 of his exes work for him at his company. And it's like, that's a way to avoid the abandonment wound. It's like, no, I still own you. I still control you because you work for me. So, it's not great. And I had another question that, feel free to write other questions. Oh, this was about, what's that fake psychologist? Sadia Khan. So on my video about Sadia Khan, someone wrote, oh my God, actually give solutions, as all she does is say the same one-liners and regurgitate the same things with her go, because she's a fake psychologist. Yeah, that blew my mind. Like, she has a lot of followers and she's pretending to be a psychologist, Sadia Khan. And she's in England, but she became very popular. I mean, like 1 million followers. And her thing was like, oh yeah, I'm a coach and therapist for men, or a psychologist. And then she got completely caught. And then, those voice tapes were leaked about, yeah, exactly, Miss Priya, about her, whatever with someone else's husband. I mean, they're really bad. Oh, I've seen the drama around Sadia. Her degree is fake or something. Yeah, she literally like photoshopped a degree. And the rules are different in England. Like I think she had like the equivalent to, I don't know, maybe like an associate's degree or something in psychology, like a junior college type of thing. And she was teaching at a junior college, something like that. But she faked having a PhD. That's the most important thing. She completely faked having a PhD, and no one was calling out on it. And I would mention it sometimes, but it was kind of backfiring. I'm like, this looks suspicious. And people were like, oh, you're a hater because she's pretty. And I'm like, I'm not hating on her. This is just my field. And there's something weird going on. So I've just let it go, because really everyone plays themselves out. And then that tape leaked of her, screaming at some married woman saying, I'm going to F your husband and all this stuff. And then all the other stuff came out, and how she's really not good. Like, these guys were paying to have sessions with her, and that she didn't do anything of significance. So, but whatever, she's still trying to do her thing. Yeah, so Sadia Khan, Andrew Tate, like Wizard Liz. I know they're all in the same category to me, like fake. Don't even get me started on the Wizard Liz. Like, she's just like the biggest walking like hypocrite. Like, it's insane. And then she's like victim. She's like doing this whole victim thing. Like, she did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong at all. It's all the baby daddy's fault that she's just this huge victim. No one forced you to marry him. No one forced you to date him. Even when all these women came out and were like, he's cheating on you. He did this to me. Like, she ignored it all because she wanted to look a certain way on the internet, and it blew up in her face. I comment to make you angry. Hey, what's up? I'm only here for the lashes. I usually don't stay much, but yeah, I just got them done. They're a little long right now. Bob, that's thoughts on Dr. Ramani. I found her a few years ago back, and I found her insight very helpful. I do think, like, especially if you're getting into it, her insight, I think, is helpful to a lot of people, especially when you come across these personality types, especially narcissists, you're like, what the fuck is going on? It is so confusing. So if you've never heard of a narcissist or anything else, like you're going to be very confused, and something like her content is helpful. What I don't like is like, oh, there's the communal narcissist, and then there's a covert and an overt narcissist, or there's the tree hugging blah 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 moon whatever narcissist. It's like that's made up. That's you made that shit up right now. Like, and I don't know if it's just to like make more content, but a lot of times I do wish, now that she's done all of the information, and I understand, like, when you're on YouTube, you want the views and you want like, and a lot of that negativity does get more views, but like, I wish she'd provide more solution-based stuff. And, I don't really, I show my clients, like, or refer them to certain channels, but I never refer them to Dr. Ramani's content, because I feel like it's just like, here's what's going on. Here's what, so yeah, I think it's informative if you don't know what's going on and you're really taken aback. But yeah, I don't think her stuff is as solution based. And like, that's just how I think. Even in every video, like the vast majority of videos I do, I offer a solution, because it's like, why would I value your time. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, so I think both, Bob. Rob, I remember that fraud con. Yeah. I had a feeling after a few posts and listened a bit. Yeah, it's just, I don't understand. I don't know if she like bought views. I think in the beginning maybe she like purchased a lot of views and followers, and then it just snowballed. It, like, the whole thing made no sense to me. I mean, and I also don't think that you need to be this licensed whatever. Like, some of the people that have helped me the most have been spiritual teachers, Reiki, whatever type of people, or energy workers. So it's just like, just be you and talk from your experience. And if people find it helpful, they'll find it helpful. But to literally just pretend to be a doctor and a psychologist is bizarre. And I don't understand how she didn't get in more trouble. Miss Priya, is it more powerful to just apologize if someone misinterprets something I say versus explaining it and trying to clear it up? Well, it depends on the situation, because if you're dealing with one of these malignant personality types, they're going to do the whole thing of like, you're wrong and I don't understand what you're saying. Just all the gaslighting and deflecting. And so if you are genuinely being gaslit and deflecting on you, like, don't apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. And a lot of times I would say 99.99% of the time, they completely understand what you said. They just don't want to, because that would involve taking accountability. So if that is the case, then absolutely no, don't apologize. But when you're saying that they misinterpreted what you said, I mean, did you actually say it in a way that was kind of like, could be misinterpreted? Were you being a little snarky? That takes self-awareness. Like, that's not like a very black or white question. So like, you have to really do some, but are you just being bullied by someone who doesn't want to take accountability for their side when you're bringing up something? So I don't know, but from what you've told me about a lot of your dynamics, it just seems like it's someone that doesn't want to take accountability for themselves, Miss Priya. So in that case, don't feel like you have to apologize for anything that you genuinely didn't do. And like, if you did, if you said something and someone was like, hey, that was really rude, and you can see that maybe it genuinely was, then yeah, apologize. Things get misinterpreted sometimes, but sometimes even with that, people are going to keep going. So, is this someone that you can have healthy conflict resolution with? I was hoping they would ask for clarification. Instead, they just said, I was shaming them. Yeah. I mean, you could try and clarify, and you could say, "No, I'm not shaming you. That wasn't my intention. I was," or is it even worth it? Like, all of these dynamics that involve all this drama and back and forth, and at some point it's like, do you wanna continue this dynamic? Are you addicted to that dynamic in some type of way, consciously or unconsciously? I mean, it should be pretty clear at some point, especially if you're going back and forth with someone, if it's necessary to apologize or not. So, that might be some soul searching to do on your end, and if you're hoping for clarification and they're saying that just sounds like a lot of drama, right? Like, say what you need to say, and then if they can't hear it, then give it some space. Or maybe, I do think a lot of these people that or dynamics that you're talking about are people that you just get to have a lot of space from. Bob, oh, interesting. I thought the different types were legit. No, like there are two types. There's like overt and covert narcissist. That's what's in the DSM, but like all these people, and like when you're suffering, like that is what you want to hear, that there's a communal, like that is communal narcissist is covert narcissist, where they come off very generous and like all of these things. And I just think it's a way for these people to make more content about, like be more creative. No, so it I mean, if you want to make up words, it's fine, but say like, yeah, I call it this, like I call it a communal narcissist. Like there's no word in the DSM for DL narcissistic guys, but a lot of them are. It's just a characteristic of it. So it's just kind of, I mean, as someone that knows, it's like annoying. And so a lot of times when I get a client and they're just coming in hot, they're in crisis, it's like, well, I looked up all these videos and they're a communal this, and they're this, and then they're this type of narcissist with all of these mixtures of, and I'm like, you're way in your head now about it. At some point, it's like if you keep watching videos, trying to rationalize it in a logical way, it is going to make you more upset. It's going to make you sicker. And so I think a lot of that content does that, where you're suffering and you're trying to make sense of it. There's no making sense of it, because these people refuse to take any type of accountability and they love you suffering. So that kind of content, it's like good for information. You could also ask ChatGPT and get the same information. But it's like, what about healing your nervous system? What about creating new feedback loops? What about releasing trauma, like how letting go teaches you, or a lot of these other things so you're healing on a yes, on a mental, but like the mental and emotional part is so connected to your body and your nervous system, and even energetically and spiritually, which I talk more about that with my one-on-one clients, but spirituality is a big part of it. When I meet a new client, I always ask them, what is your spiritual orientation? Because I will speak that language and we can go from there. Because when you heal from these dynamics, it really is a spiritual awakening. I always tell my clients, I'm like, this could be, and it will probably be one of the best things that ever happened to you, because it's going to just catapult you into this new life and this new timeline where everything is so much better and you won't ever put up with any of these dynamics again. So, yeah, it's important to take all of that into consideration. But yeah, just not being like hammering away, like whatever we give energy to, we get more of. So if we're just constantly sitting around thinking about consuming content about all the shitty things the narcissist does, that's what we're going to get more of. And then what does that do? It always makes people angry, and then they want to send the narcissist the video. And I'm like, don't do that. Like I have clients who are like, oh, sorry, I fucked up and I sent my ex this video. And I'm like, let's stop watching videos like that. Because yes, they're informative, but you already know that. So let's focus on you and let's focus on your healing. I spent a year trying to understand and went deep into a rabbit hole. Yeah, no, it's good to do that, because it's like so confusing at first. So it's good to go into that rabbit hole and understand it. I just want that rabbit hole to lead back to you and healing, especially with narcissists, because you totally abandon yourself to be with them. And you totally abandon yourself right after that idealization phase, when you're getting devalued and the whole cycle of abuse starts. You start abandoning yourself more and more until you forget who you are. So it's way to come back to you and heal you and become the best version of you. So, let me see. I was hoping, Miss Priya, I was hoping, oh, sorry. I spent like a year, oh yeah. Miss Priya, it is a trauma to always need to try to be in a relationship versus being comfortable with being single. Is it a trauma to always need to be in a yeah. That's like, if you feel like you always need to be in a relationship, there's some unresolved, attachment, anxious attachment issues going on, anxiously attached people. And I mean, avoidance do the same thing. It's expressed a little bit differently, but they're always wanting to be in a relationship, to regulate their nervous system, to feel the ego validation. And but it's typically for other people, or like how it's seen, because it's like, look, everyone, I have a partner, I'm lovable, like that type of thing. But you're typically in a toxic relationship that's really eating away at you and is more detrimental than good. And but being comfortable being single, or just being comfortable with yourself and being comfortable being alone, whether you're single, married for 20 years, is so important. Because that a lot of people stay in toxic dynamics because they're like, oh, well, I can't, I've been married for so long, so I can't, I just gotta suck it up. And like, and the toxic person knows that. It's like, okay, well, I have you by the balls or whatever, because you're not going anywhere. That's what a toxic person always thinks. You're not going anywhere, so I could really just do whatever I want. What does that do? That corrodes at your soul, mentally, physically, emotionally. So when when you are someone that is really so comfortable with yourself in that like unshakable way, like I'm good either way, you attract healthy people. You don't attract these types anymore. And if they try to come near you, they just like bounce right off. That was the biggest shift I saw when I really did all of my healing and started dating again. It was like, even if, on dating apps or whatever, you have it would like fall off by the second conversation, because you are so strong in who, there's just no opening for any of that bullshit. Because like narcissists and these toxic people, they know what to look for. They know how to love bomb. And if you're not going for the love bombing, it's like, what are you doing? You don't know me. Like, and so it's just a totally different vibe. Excuse me. Hi, the expansionist. Yeah, narcissists don't care about those videos, but not only do they not care, they comment on them. It's so funny to me. Like, I mean, I never get offended by any like negative comments, but the ones that are like, you could tell it's like a narcissistic person and they're so fucking triggered. Like, and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a narcissist. Like, and they're literally saying maybe something that I even said in the video, like, oh, narcissists have these defense responses. So you could tell they didn't watch the whole video. And then they get in the comments and they're like, yeah, you're like that too. And, or you do this. And I'm like, sir, did you watch the video? Okay, well, you know what? Subscribe, like and subscribe. I don't know. Like, so funny. Um, I was in a relationship with a mama's boy. She was I was in a relationship with a mama's boy. She was very toxic, and he would get upset with me because he came back and moved in with him, and Euros Euros test him. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So we're talking about the mama's boy, which is unfortunately a common dynamic, and it's super gross, and it is like the mom wants to be the girlfriend, and it's kind of perverse. He would get mad at me because I raised my boys to be independent and know how to take care of themselves, and his mom never taught him that. So yeah, because again, like the narcissist mom doesn't want to be abandoned, so she will literally disable her kids to not be both, like whether they're a man or a woman, but so they can't be completely dependent or can't be completely independent. So it's like, no, you're never going to leave me because you get to, because I don't like anyone else being like, I'm the woman, I'm the main woman in your life, which is creepy, but that is what they do. I taught him to be, he would tell me I raised them to not, it sounds like you did raise them to appreciate life. You know, when these narcissistic parents that disable their children in that way, they don't appreciate anything because mommy or daddy will take care of it. It's really sick. And I hope you're not in that dynamic anymore. Would treat him like get a boyfriend. Let me see. In my experience, women tell me they feel like they need a man. They tell me they need a sense of security and safety. Yeah, that's called real masculine energy. Provide safety and security, provider, protector. I have female friends who have never been single. They jump from guy to guy. Yeah, that's not great. Bob, I am lagging or did no, my video froze. Sorry, I had to like that's my bad. Sorry, guys. No worry. Yes, technical difficulties. I'm still here. Okay, tame. It was like he fell back into a little boy and a trance. It's very creepy. And it is like that. And it is like this dynamic where it's like, yes, mother, like Norman Bates, like that whole thing. Because if they don't like fall into that trance, that creepy thing, then the narcissistic mom will get so upset and then the rage will come out and it's like, you are disobeying me. Because all narcissists, you are there for supply. You are there for whatever needs the ego needs so they can manipulate and control you. They don't want like a real relationship. So with a narcissistic mom, it's like you exist for me to manipulate and control. That's the basis of your existence. And if you don't do that, then I'm going to get very upset and I'm going to make your life hell. And so he's literally afraid of her. And then what he does with a girlfriend is like, no, we can't like rock the boat and everything. Instead of like being a man and being like, okay, this, my girlfriend or my wife is the woman in my life. It's like, no, my mom is the woman in my life. And it's very inappropriate and creepy. And I would definitely recommend staying away from people like that. And I've seen it both. I've seen it with narcissistic men and how they treat their daughters. It's just not okay. It's all bad. And it's this also like perverted way to suppress the child's sexuality. And it's like your sexuality belongs, it's an unconscious message that your sexuality belongs to me. Seriously. I know it sounds so gross, but that is literally what's going on. And a lot of those dynamics run deep. There could be other things going on. There could be childhood like, sexual trauma that's related to that. It goes really deep. I've heard everything. So with those type of people, they have to really, if you begin having a or you see those red flags, I would back away because unless someone, I know Bob ill, yes, it is ill. And if unless someone's like really wanting to look at that, and it's a really difficult thing to separate from. Like I have a narcissistic mother that I haven't talked to in like 6 years or so because of that. It's like it's an intense and arduous process emotionally, physically, everything. So if someone doesn't have the courage to do all of that, there is no amount of arguing, logic, displaying that will ever get them to say that. So I'm just glad. I hope that person is your ex and you have walked away from that situation. Tame cab. Nope, I left a month after she. Yeah, good. A grown man in a little boy made in a little boy mode made me cringe. It is so cringy. It is so cringy. And when you'll know that, like, as I'm speaking, like, as a woman, when you're around a man, if you feel like you want to be in mothering mode, or like take care of, like, a lot of narcissists are like that, or you want to do things for them, they want a mommy. They don't want a woman. They don't want a partner. They want a mommy. But if you're around a guy that you're dating and you feel safe and secure and you can be playful, like your femininity comes out more, where you can be playful and relaxed and like surrendered and like sensual and all of those things, then you're around a man. And I'm not talking about even like the first few dates, even though the more intuitive you are, right away. Like, I could tell by even how someone texts sometimes, and definitely by a phone call, but within the first few dates, you should be able to know that. But definitely after a month, if you're really, really being honest, and you're not making excuses for the red flags because you want to be in a relationship, or they're kind of shiny in this type of way, you'll know. And you want to feel like that. Like, a lot of times people are like women, like, you feel like a little girl, like, in a good way, like you just feel like happy and playful. That type of dynamic is something that like real masculinity provides. It's just the truth. All right, do you guys have any other questions or wins for the week, or intentions? It's Wednesday, so do you have any intentions for the rest of the week till Sunday? Like, by Sunday I'm gonna do this. Anything like that going on? Let me know. And then, are you guys implementing the neurological reprogramming tool that we went over on Sunday, this past Sunday, which is cognitive reconstruction? So it's basically reframing like a negative beliefs. Tame Cab. I was cringing because his energy changed once she got there. He wasn't independent, and he was honest and kept saying, I have more. And his mom helped him, I believe, to control him. Yeah. The narcissistic parents want to control their kids, even at the sacrifice of them not being fully capable adults. It's like they don't want that. And the narcissistic parent will make fun of that and like shame them about that, but still not want that for them, because narcissists like to offload their shame. So if they're shaming other people for some reason, they love that, especially their kids. And it's so like kind of baffling, because if you are putting your child down because they're not independent or whatever their character flaw is, it's like, ma'am, sir, you raised them. You don't think anything, and they never think anything's their fault. And they're like, oh my God, I don't even know how you turned out that way. So they either turn out like this, or they have children that won't talk to them. Wonder why? Of course, nothing's their fault. Of course, they're the victim in every way. No. Tame, I love your channel. I will go to your page and look up your videos. Oh yeah, of course. You are welcome so much. Please do. Please do. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will say that I've been saying this like since Sunday, like my intention is to create more long form content for you guys. I got to get through these intakes. I had an influx of new clients come in, and they're all like coming in at different dates and everything, which is so exciting. I love, working with people one-on-one. So I'm going to get all that squared away, and then we should be good. Oh, and another question, and I'm going to actually I'm going to make a short on this too, but so I made a video about allowing yourself to be led by God or universe, source, whatever you call it. Like, be the passenger princess with God. That's what it was. And I'm like, because we want to control things, but I really do feel like the more you can let go, the more you can surrender, like, just hold in your mind what you want, like the Neville Goddard approach. If you don't know Neville Goddard, he's the kind of like the king of manifesting. He's been teaching us, like, I think 100 years ago, he's had these knowledge out. But if you can just let go, just stay focused on what you want with gratitude and let go. And I've been calling it, I don't know why that came to me as I was driving. I'm like, oh yeah, God wants me to be the passenger princess instead of trying to control it all the time and thinking that to get this outcome, I always have to do this and it has to be. No, I get to have a different experience of it. And so do you. And so I just said that. It was like a 30-second video. Like, can you allow yourself to be led and taken care of and be the passenger princess? Because God can get you to whatever you want a lot sooner. And you're thinking, I have to do this really hard road that's going to take 3 days to get to, and then this, and then this. And God's like, I can get you there like that. And so this person, it got a lot of positive feedback, but one person was like, well, when is God going to show up? And I'm like, that is it right there. We block things with resistance. We block things with doubt and fear, any form of fear, but doubt and not feeling like you're worthy of it, thinking it belongs to everyone else except you. And I guess that's just another form of doubt, but they're all doubt and fear-based things that will hold it back. And you could also ask for that to just be released. If that is something that you struggle with, can you just ask for it to be let go? Like, hey, I am worthy, and I'm just going to release any thoughts. And if you do have any type of higher power, whatever your spiritual orientation is, can you talk to your higher power and really know and trust and believe that that is being taken away from you? In AA or all the 12-step programs, that's like the first step. It's like, I'm asking for this impulse to be taken away from me, and the impulse to drink and whatever else to be taken away from me, and really knowing that it's not something that your human ego mind can do. It's coming from a higher state of consciousness and a higher state of intelligence that you call God or your higher power or whatever. And Carl Jung, that book right there, but like Carl Jung was like one of the most famous psychologists. He said that when AA was being formed, the leader of AA, Bill W., he went to Carl Jung and he's like, how do we help these people? Because they used to put alcoholics in psych wards, any type of addiction. They would just put them in psych wards. And then they would get out and start drinking again. He was like, you first of all, 2 or more people need to be gathered together talking about these things. And you have to depend on a higher power to release whatever it is. Any compulsion, it could be an addiction to another person, to alcohol, to drugs, any compulsive behavior that you have to surrender it. That's actually a big reason why I talk about the book Letting Go. Even if it's something that you're always worried about, if it's an anxious attachment pattern in your relationships, you get to release it. Why did my autocorrect change? Heck to that. I was trying to be appropriate. What changed? What autocorrect? The thing I like about AA is your higher power can be literally anything. It can be. Met a girl at a meeting once that had her cat as her house. Yeah, they do say that, because a lot of people would use, like, they'd be like, God doesn't exist, or I'm mad at God, or whatever. So it's like, don't call it God then. Whatever your higher power is, it's something you can surrender it to. So yeah, you can surrender it to your cat. Your cat could be your higher power. And really, if God consciousness is moving through everything, who cares? And some people might be like, oh my God, that's sacrilegious. Well, we're not talking about religion. And in AA, they say that. They're like, this has nothing to do with religion, even though they use the word God a lot. But you could just say higher power, source. I've gone to, I'm a member of Al-Anon, which is like the sister program to AA, and it helps like with relationships and not enabling toxic behavior from the alcoholic or any type of toxic person. But one of the things that they say, like, they remind you, like, hey, just call your higher power, whatever. So when they end a meeting, they say, God, grant me the serenity. And you'll hear some people say, like, Princess Layla, or like some stupid, It's not stupid, but they're like ultimate goddess instead of God. It's like, okay, we know, like, you're not calling it God, but whatever. Like, as long as you are doing the work, as long as you're healing these compulsive behaviors around whatever your addiction is the most important thing. And addiction is being in an addiction, an emotional addiction or addiction to some outside thing is so spiritual. Is the most spiritual thing, like to be in the depths of despair and be like, oh my God, this pattern is gonna for the rest of my life, and then have that arc where you oftentimes reach rock bottom and then you decide to get help, but you really decide that this is shifting because you're surrendering it. You're telling, like, God, I can't, like, another thing they say in AA is, God, I can't, you can, and I'm going to let you. And it's that letting you part and having the faith that I'm going to really actually let you do this so my relationships can get better. That's the Al-Anon piece of it. So I can have healthy relationships. So I could have a healthy relationship with my body. So I could release this addiction or whatever it is for you. Yeah, it was funny. I always thought it was super funny that when people would do that. But, totally agree. The surrender is so powerful. It really is. And I am, even as someone that has been doing this for about 20 years, like helping people for 20 years and always doing my own work, of course, I continue to have a deeper and deeper relationship with surrender. That's why I'm telling you guys, keep going. If you're watching these videos, if you're watching my videos, if you're doing any interpersonal work or reading any of the whatever, just keep going, because the layers of healing will deepen and you will get to a place where things, like, you will laugh at the things that used to trigger you. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'd be so stressed out about how this person thought, or how, like, I used to have this about like how I looked and like my body, and like I'm like not fat, but I would think I'm fat. And like, actually the post I'm going to make is like something, anyway, you'll see it when I post it later. It's like, I would never do that, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm actually like not fat. And so, but I would be so that some of that stuff would like trigger the shit out of me. And I had like all types of body dysmorphia and horrible relationships. And I think about some of the relationships, I'm like, I would never even date someone. I would never even talk to someone like that. And I could laugh at that now. And it's very freeing and liberating, because that's what we want. We don't want like, oh, I want to be happy, I want this. You want to be free. Even if you think you want money, you want to be financially free. And if you think you want love, you want like freedom, you want a safe container in your relationship where there's a lot of freedom to be you. So it does create so much freedom. So all I'm saying is, like, keep going in whatever way. And any way I can be part of your journey, like doing things like this, I want to do that. So yeah. And that's another reason I might create that community. I think that would be, I don't know. I think it could be good. We'll see. Body dysmorphia makes me sad. My high school girlfriend had it, and nothing I ever said could change her mind. Yeah, she was gorgeous, but underweight. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really, and it's like the more you try to convince someone, they will think that you're fucking with them or that you're wrong or that, yeah, it's a really deep compulsion, and it is an addiction to like this negative thinking. And a lot of times it comes from having a caretaker or primary caretaker, like a parent, tell you not nice things about yourself. And so even when they're not around, you're internalizing them, but you also do it. The brain does it. Like, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm all these things, because the brain falsely identifies that as safety. Like, if my narcissistic or toxic parent is telling me all of these things, they feel good about themselves, and I just go, okay, yes, and I accept it. Then like everything in the house will be calm. I'll just keep saying I'm ugly. So this feedback loop gets created where they just keep telling themselves that, and then sometimes reality can come in, and it's very confusing. Like when everyone's telling you that you're not fat and that you're not ugly, and you're like, shut up, I am. And so it's this like very backwards thing that you're actually associating with safety when you're calling yourself fat and ugly. So it takes a lot to get out of it, but, you know, I'm glad that you tried, but it is, like, so frustrating because it's like it's like trying to tell an alcoholic, "Just don't drink." It's actually not even about the alcohol, you know? Like, any type of compulsive behavior or addiction has so much pain that's just being numbed under it. It's not even about the alcohol. That's why if, addicts don't do the inner work, then it will show up that addiction will just reroute to sex or this drama in relationships. That's why a lot of people that do AA or whatever, like the first year, they're like, absolutely no relationships, no dating. And it really should be for longer than that. But a lot of times, people, you see them in AA, they get clean and sober for 3 months, and then they're just having the most chaotic relationships just because that addiction got rerouted. But they will say, they're like, I'm not getting that high like I used to. Like, you don't get the same high from people. They'll straight up say that. So there's that piece. So yeah, anyone else have any other questions? I am here again on Sunday for Soothing Sundays at 5 p.m. That will be 5 p.m. Pacific. So we will have a neurological reprogramming tool, and then we'll answer some more questions. But if not, great questions, you guys. I love, like, all the feedback, and you guys are so smart too. Pleasure as always. No, thank you, Bob. Thank you. Thank you for moderating. I so appreciate it. Especially I was having some technical difficulties, so they will all be smoothed out. I literally, like, barely had time to do anything. I was like, it was an action-packed day. So, and I was already running late, so I was like, fuck it. But thank you so much, Bob. We so appreciate you. And I appreciate everyone that's been on this live stream, or if you watch it later. Have a lovely night, you guys, and I will see you on Sunday for Soothing Sundays. Love you.